What made the popular guy girl lose their popularity? This one popular girl in HS got so drunk at a party that she just started shitting herself everywhere. Some friends drove her home and she did it again in the backseat. Not easily forgotten, but it was one of those things no one would say anything about. It's just that the entire school knew by Monday afternoon. Making fun of somebody's dad when they were diagnosed with cancer. That's going to drop your approval ratings somewhat. He made fun of some girl's dead father, drug overdose. The other popular kids confronted him about how effed up that was and he lost all of his popularity. I love how it's like there was some popular kid council that revoked his membership. This was an elementary school. She peed her pants at recess. Then her mom came to the school with a change of clothes but was livid about the accident. Gave her a very loud spanking in the bathroom which everyone heard. Then made her wear a diaper. I guess she wet the bed pretty often. I'm pretty sure her mom was intentionally humiliating her as a messed up punishment. This was in the 80s in rural Alabama. Things were and still are different there. A popular boy cried in class during a discussion about a recent tragedy because someone that was close to him died in said tragedy. He got relentlessly bullied for the short time afterward that he was at that school. He was a good kid that didn't deserve any of that. I really hate middle school kids sometimes. I went to the same school as the kids of the Prime Minister of my country at the time. I didn't know the daughter too well, but apparently she went from being popular to being bullied out of the school when her dad lost the election. It was pretty sad that people starting hating on her for something she had no control over. He was a new kid, but due to his looks, parents' wealth, and sports aptitude he quickly became popular. Then he made the mistake of bullying a harmless kid who was on the spectrum and was basically the football team's lucky charm. They did not take kindly to that and he went from being the next big thing to being that kid no one wanted to talk to and he had to basically bribe people to keep them around. That football team sounds like they're amazing people. Seeing people band together and stick up for the person who may or may not be able to do so for themselves always makes me happy. I also just like seeing rich people being put in their place according to personality. Word got out that this kid stole from his grandparents for drug money. Freshman year of high school. Very popular guy who was the it kid freshman phenom WR on a nationally ranked team. We were all leaving class one day. He randomly decided it was a good idea to make fun of a very well-loved handicapped guy who was dying of his condition. Some advanced form of water on the brain if I remember correctly, and even decided to punch him. This knocked the poor kid to the ground. About 10 guys immediately jumped him. A shop teacher saw it, the WR getting his, happen and let it continue for a minute before stopping things. MR, popular got quite messed up in that short window. Kicked off team. Expelled. Moved schools in a move that I'm guessing was a way to start over at a new school. Never heard from him again. Went from pet rally king to degenerate outcast in 5 minutes. I had a front row seat and was one of 50 plus who testified to the school admins. The victim passed away later that school year from his condition. You almost never heard him speak, but when he did he was always kind and thoughtful. He pulled a gun on some football players trying to assault a middle school girl. The football players ended up going to prison. Students, teachers, and parents made his life a living hell because he ruined the school's chance to make it to the state football championship. When I was in 6th grade, one of my classmates brought $90 each to school. They were going to go shopping after school. She was the most popular girl in class. At some point during the course of the day the money went missing. Our teacher went right to the superintendent's office right across the hall from our class. Within minutes they had pulled us all out of class and separated out the boys and the girls. The 5th grade teacher took the girls into the bathroom 3 at a time and strip searched them, and the superintendent handled all of us boys. I didn't take the money, but I got in a stall, locked it and refused to come out. I had some serious skid marks going on that day and no one on this earth needed to go rooting around in my underpants. He finally gave up and let me go. The cops showed up a few hours later and interviewed all of us one by one. A few weeks later it got out that she forgot to bring the money to school, and it was home in her bedroom the whole time. Despite us being in a rural area and the next nearest school being 30 miles away, the backlash was bad enough that her parents pulled her out of school and sent her to the next town over. In retrospect, people F up, and our anger at her was misplaced compared to the mountain of lawsuits that should have come down on the superintendent. Popular girl was driving drunk on the way to school and caused a pretty bad accident involving 3 other cars. She spilled liquor on herself and slammed on her brakes in a line of cars. Her car managed not to have a scratch. She swapped seats with her passenger in front of everyone before cops arrive. A few minutes later we realize she has disappeared. She had slipped into another car that had stopped to see if everyone was okay. Several people ended up getting tickets and her passenger ended up getting a DUI. She was unpopular until graduation. We had 2 or 3 over the 4 years get pregnant. They no longer went to all the parties with a kid to look after. Becoming the small fish at university. Nothing humbles you like going from a school with a class size of 300 to the university with 30,000 students. Her mom came to a school meeting and told everyone she suffers from mild autism. Kid made a video for a school project, which he played in front of the class. Dart project video ended and cut to him beating his meat. He was a freshman. He spent the remainder of HS known only as the cameraman. Guy wasn't exactly extremely popular to begin with, but was well known. He punched some girl at my school in the face for no reason at a concert. Shortly after this, there was news that he rolled his brand new Camaro going 95 in a 45. This caused him and another guy at our school a lot of injuries. His friend lost his entire rear in the accident. Oh, and this was right after they stole beer from Kroger. They were drunk driving. Anyways, people kept their distance after this. I was the popular girl, developed full-blown schizophrenia in my sophomore year of high school and had a spiral that rivaled a Hollywood movie. By the time I graduated everyone knew me as the weird, crazy witch girl who talked to herself and had no friends. Now I'm out of high school, stable, on my meds, with people in my life who love me, and I haven't thought about popularity since. Life is wild. I was somewhat part of that crowd and God, was there a lot of drama. One of the girls got shunned by practically our whole grade after it was revealed that she slept with the boyfriend of this other really well-liked girl. They were the it couple. She got lots of judgment about it, though somehow the guy got away with it without much issue. I almost felt bad for her, but then I didn't, because the year before she made the Spanish teacher cry by being so rude, and later in the year she was caught cheating in bio and pressuring this really smart girl to give her the answers. She wasn't exactly a good person. He was in my grade. We were seniors and it was the last few days of school. Him and some of his buddies, who were also popular but not nearly as much, decided to vandalize the school. At night they spray painted stuff all over the outside of the place. They also sprayed the words "could have done worse" on the big entryway doors in the front. Well, they got caught. Their punishment? None of them graduated. They all had to repeat the year. Everyone thought they were idiots after that. According to one of my friends who was a grade younger, many people would say could have done better to them in passing. They lost their place to a kind and warm-heated sweet girl with a very sunny and positive vibe. Suddenly everyone was around her and not around the popular kid bully. Basically the students finally saw what they really needed. Admittedly, this popular person didn't lose their popularity, but I will contend that it is the dumbest thing a popular person has ever done. During high school, we all had to read a book about the Holocaust. I don't remember the exact book, but it was an incredible story, obviously in a horrible, yet eye-opening way. After every English class finished reading it, we had a school-wide assembly where an Auschwitz survivor came and spoke about their experiences. It was an incredibly heavy assembly and it was clearly respected. There wasn't any goofing around like normal assemblies. Everyone, including the class clowns, settled down to give this person respect. After their presentation, they opened the floor to general questions. Most people asked pretty tame questions, but this particular popular person raised their hand and asked, "Did you ever have a one-on-one encounter with Hitler?" The presenter was dumbfounded and the entire school went silent like a collective "What the F did you just ask?" There was a new kid at our school that I'll call Alex for the purposes of this story. He was athletic, funny, good looking, etc. He got in with the popular kids pretty quick and got along with just about everybody. Small town school. There was a special needs kid in our grade that I'll call Josh. Everybody loved Josh like a little brother, and we were all very protective of him. One day, about a week after Alex got to the school, he was teasing Josh out in the courtyard and Josh was getting really upset. A few kids told him to cut it out, and Alex got angry so he pushed Josh. He instantly was attacked by several of the nearby guys and was getting the snot beaten out of him until the teachers got there. Alex was suspended for 2 weeks and the guys attacking him were suspended for 1 week. When he got back, he was basically shunned. Nobody would talk to him unless it was school related. During gym class, people would do whatever they could to exclude him. He switched schools after a few weeks of this. Looking back at it, his treatment was really harsh, but he effing deserved it in my eyes. She was a bit of a bee. Pretty as a picture but dumb as a dark room. Once people saw how she really was as a person, using her looks to get what she wanted and throwing a hissy fit once she didn't get it, caused people to lose interest real quick. I actually met her about a decade after we graduated and she was a completely different person. Really humble and gentle. Actually a lot more clever than she appeared. No idea what she's doing now. He had already lost a lot of popularity from going to state mandated rehab once, though the last straw was when he crashed and killed a girl before he made it out of his driveway only a couple months after he got out of mandatory rehab while driving drunk. Used to friends with the guy, but he had a downward spiral and last I heard is still in jail. Don't drink and drive, people, it's not just your life on the line when you make that decision. He farted in the middle of her exam and ended up shitting their pants. Whose pants? Girl in my class responded to his bullying with, "Oh yeah, well at least I don't have a bald spot." Poor science teacher. Her lesson plan was derailed by a good 5-10 minutes of laughter.